Hi, and welcome to the Solid Signal podcast for Tuesday, September 10th, 2013. Now, I hardly need to tell anybody that tomorrow is Wednesday, September 11th, and I certainly don't need to tell you what that means to most people. Still, I'd like to encourage you to do what I do. Think about the days right after that particular date back in 2001, how everybody came together, how people made an extra effort to call friends and loved ones, how we all felt a little bit closer, if a little bit more vulnerable. But let's talk about today's topic. You know, the economy is finally improving to the point where a lot of us are thinking of getting new homes. And if you're looking at a home that was built in the last 10 years, chances are it's pre-wired with RG6 cable. I'm going to tell you from a more technical point of view what you need to look at and what you need to avoid, more importantly. After all, you don't want to move into that beautiful house and then have to rip up walls at that point, do you? When you're out there house hunting, and, while other people are looking at the quality of the countertops, the flooring, and whatever, take a look at the wiring. A lot of homes have been wired for cable and satellite in the last couple of years, and that means it's going to be easier to install in a lot of cases. However, people make dumb decisions, they choose the wrong kind of cable, or as they're rehabbing the house, they make some really questionable choices as well when it comes to how the cable is handled. I've seen this a lot recently, and that's just why I wanted to kind of share all this stuff with you. The first thing that you want to look for as you're walking through the house is paint. If any of the connectors anywhere on any of the wires you see are painted, you know they're going to need to be replaced. Simple as that. Paint is the enemy of your signal. I don't know why, but for some reason you see a lot of people who just paint over those wall outlets. They think that it looks more attractive that way. And folks, it just doesn't work for satellite or cable. The homeowner doesn't realize that. They've probably already taken their own cable box out. If the cable or satellite wires are outside the walls, take a look at sharp bends that might have happened in the cable. People aren't always so careful when they push their furniture up against the wall. Any sharp bends in the cable can change its impedance, and you really don't want that. It means you're going to get problems later on down the road. That's another indication that the cable needs to be replaced. But if there are cables outside the walls, that's not hard to replace, and the truth is it's not going to look a whole lot different once everything is replaced. What you really want to worry about are cables inside the walls, and that can be a big problem because you really can't see what's there all the time. When you mention there's cable inside the wall and ask the real estate agent about it, they'll probably look at you blankly and they'll say, well, I know it worked for the previous owner. Well, you need to get past that. You need to look past it because, honestly, the agent doesn't know. Ask the agent to show you the wiring closet or anywhere where you can inspect the wires, and I'll tell you what you need to look for. On the outside jacket of every cable is going to be a printout that shows its model number, and it may tell you a little bit about the specs of the product. If you have the model number of the cable, you can look it up and you can find out what all the exact specs of the product are, but one thing you're really looking for is that it's sweep tested to 3.0 gigahertz. If it doesn't say sweep tested to 3.0 gigahertz, either on the jacket of the cable or somewhere on the internet, then it isn't. And if it isn't, you can't use it for satellite, period. Of course, if your only goal is to use an antenna, you can be a lot more flexible with the cable. You still don't want to see bent or broken ones, and you don't want to see connectors that are painted over, but antenna signals are a lot stronger than satellite signals, and they're a lot more forgiving with that sort of thing. If the cables are run through the walls, then take a look at the outlets where they come out. Now, a lot of lazy installers will simply run a bare piece of cable through a hole, and that's okay. It's really not that bad, but I think a lot of us would rather see a barrel connector used right on the faceplate so it looks like a nice clean install. I should point out that DirecTV and Dish specs allow for people to run straight to the receiver without using a barrel. In fact, you get a stronger signal that way by about 1 dB. On the other hand, the homeowner is usually willing to give up that 1 dB to get that nice look, especially in rooms where people get to congregate and they get to see the installation right there. See, unless the center of those barrel connectors is blue, you can't certify that they're okay for DirecTV satellite use. See, not every barrel that's certified for DirecTV is has a blue center, but the ones that do have a blue center let you know. The good news is that you can get a bag of these correct barrels at Solid Signal. A bag of 50 won't set you back that far, and with just a flathead screwdriver and a 7/16 wrench, you can replace them all really quickly and easily. Most people don't know that they should keep lines terminated when not in use, and that tends to mean that if there are barrel connectors on the faceplates, they've got a lot of oxidation too. In other words, they're kind of turned a dingy gray, and that is if they haven't been painted over. So all things considered, it's not a bad idea to replace all those barrel connectors anyway. It might also give you an idea of what kind of connection points are used on the other side to make sure that they haven't gotten oxidized either. If there is satellite TV equipment still in the house, such as a dish or a multi-switch, take a look at it. Does it meet your personal specifications for the way that it's put up, or does it look like the homeowner did it themselves? Just the other day, I saw a dish kind of hanging off of a fascia board, and the grounding block was in place, but it was just hanging out there. Not only was there not even a grounding wire attached, but the grounding block wasn't even attached to the fascia board. It was just kind of hanging out there. Look, you do not get an A for effort where lighting is concerned. Finally, if you're looking at buying a home that was in foreclosure or was abandoned or not occupied for a long period, say for example over a year, you're going to want to think about replacing a lot of that wiring, not just satellite but electrical too. Insects can get in and they can bite down on the rubber sheathing on the outside of both electrical cables and satellite cables, and unless they've been keeping up on the exterminating, you're going to find it could be more dangerous than you expect. It's just something to think about, and rewiring an entire house is expensive, but then again, rebuilding after a fire is too. That's it for the podcast this week. If you have ideas for future podcasts, go to blog.solidsignal.com, click that orange Suggest a Topic button on the upper right-hand corner. I hope to see you soon, and until then, have a great week.